Today, I want to show you guys how you can set up lead generation ads using Facebook to generate leads for your business. It's very simple to do. We've spent $500,000 in the past few months on Facebook lead gen ads across a couple different industries, focusing on generating high ticket leads, whether it's remodelers or personal injury law firms, our company as a marketing firm. So I feel like I have a pretty good authority and I can explain kind of the best ways to go about setting it up. Whether you have experience or you don't, I'm going to show you how you can get the most profitable ads while spending the least amount of money. So how can we do this? So as you can see here, I have a doc my team put together for these ads we will set up as lead generation. And then as you can see here in the ads manager, this is where we're going to be setting it up. So if you haven't, you're just going to come to Facebook Business Ads Manager. It'll be the first link you click. You will have to set up a business account if you already haven't. However, I'm sure that if you are a business, then you have already done this. So you can see this is kind of what it'll look like. You can click get started and you can go ahead, fill this out, and then meet us along once you have this set up. I'm going to show you how you can set up the proper way to generate leads using Facebook. So as you can see here, we have one offer, 6 creatives, 2 primary text for each creative, and 1 headline. So what does this mean? These are all different things that you can be testing, right? So when you're putting ads out there, Facebook and Instagram have an ocean of people that you can basically buy their attention. You want to be able to figure out what messaging, what pain points, what creative is going to stick to the people that you're selling to. And you ultimately want to find the perfect combination of creative, offer, headline, etc. When you find this perfect combination, that's when you're able to really scale, and that's when you see companies make 10, 20, 30 million dollars off of paid ads. I know it's crazy, but it's doable. The problem is that most businesses don't have the efficiency and they're not strategic when they're running these ads, so they're not profitable, they don't get to test, and ultimately they fail over a period of time. And so I want to show you how to prevent that, and I'm going to show you a real example where we have 2 different versions of this copy here, and we have 2 different versions of this copy here. We're going to pick one of both, and one is short form and one is a story, right? So there's 2 different ways, but we want to see which one gets more people to sign up, and we're going to do the exact same thing with each creative. So we want to have 2 different versions of the copy for each creative, because if we have, picture and copy here, and we have a video and copy, it's hard to tell if they're both different, why the customer filled out the form or opted in or became a lead. So you want everything to be the same across the ads with one change. So if you're testing 6 creative, well, we're gonna try 6 of the same creative with 2 versions of copy, right? So we're gonna have in total 12 ads, and ultimately we're gonna see which creative and copy combination perform the best, and ultimately we want to spend the most money on those ads and turn off the ones over time that aren't converting. You do that for months and months and months and years, and ultimately you have this winning advertising strategy that a lot of businesses just can't compete with. You can outspend anybody, and you have too much data in Facebook, so Facebook becomes 10 times smarter, and you're ultimately going to come out with the most money at the end of the day. So if you're interested in how to do that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to basically create a campaign, and we're going to create leads. I'm going to click continue. And so in our case, we're marketing a free video to try and get our foot in the door with businesses. We then know that with our content team, we're pretty proud of them. We feel like we can then shoot a piece of commercial, we can shoot a commercial for them, and then we can give them a strategy and then upsell them if they're interested in our services. So this is our version of a lead magnet, which is a full solution to a narrow problem. So in this case, we want to get marketing people. We want to get customers that are interested in marketing. So I'm going to give them a full solution, a full video and content session in exchange for their contact info, right? That's how I'm going to get my foot in the door, and I can then qualify the business, see if they're a business that we'd want to work with, and see if we can really help them. And then from there, I deliver value up front, and then I'm able to build a relationship and then sell later on. So this is how our funnel is working, and so this is what I'm going to be demonstrating. So the first thing we want to do is we want to name our campaign. So this is going to be So I went ahead and did this to make it super efficient for us to set these up quickly. But obviously you might want to have a little bit better naming conventions, because once you start running a lot of ads, it can get kind of overwhelming. So you want to either describe them by the type of offer you're running. You can do, the offer, then the video or the name of the piece of content, and then the type of ad, whether it's brand awareness, lead generation. And typically those are good naming conventions. You can pick whatever makes the most sense for you. So in this case, we're going to be spending $20 a day across 12 different ads. That's about $240 a day. That's $7,200 a month we're spending in ads. But on average, we have a cost per lead of about $28, and that's about 270 leads every month. We only sell monthly retainers of 3,000 or greater with a 10% rev share model. And so there's only a very handful of businesses that meet our criteria where we feel like we can plug and play and really help them scale from $1 to $5 to $10 million. And those are the businesses we look for. So out of 270 leads, if we close 3 of them, right? I tell my team this all the time. That's $190K in revenue. We have about 35% margins on our business, so that's $67,000 in profit off those 3 customers. The average lifetime value of these customers, they stay with us for 21 months on average, which honestly is longer, but we have a few customers who they're not good fits and we kind of jump the gun on the prospecting, and then they end up cutting early, which makes our average worse. But again, with that said, this free video allows us to get as many businesses as possible, and then from there we filter it out, provide value, and then talk about a long-term relationship, and that's how we're able to make these ads so profitable. If the business model behind the ad itself isn't good, you will have a really hard time running ads, so you need to make sure that you can spend enough money to test things so that you can continue to do so and you don't run out of cash and just say it doesn't work, because I promise you it does work. So let's get into how to set this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically take my name, I'm going to name the campaign, and then here I don't have to declare anything, because again, this is a regular lead generation ad. Now you do need to, if you're hiring people, if it's anything related to credit, housing, or politics, which I rarely do. We've done some work for a politician where we had to do that, but if not, you should be good. Then we're going to do campaign budget. We're going to spend $20 per day, like I said, and we're honestly going to leave everything as is on this campaign level. We're going to then come down to the ad set, and this is where we're going to do instant forms. You can do calls or your website if you have a landing page or a website set up for conversions. We do that. However, in this case, I'm going to show you how to do it using lead gen ads. And so we're going to set the start date today. You can set an end date if you'd like, so when you'd want these ads to stop running. However, we like to turn them off manually. So locations is where you can target by location. In this case, we're targeting Austin specifically, at least for this campaign. And so what I will do is I will look up Austin, Texas, and then I will change this to a 50-mile radius just because we want enough people to be seeing it. And then from here, we also could import a list. So typically that's what we'll do. We'll either scrape a list of the industry of the businesses we want and put that in there and tell Facebook to go find those people, or we can use a customer list or other types of lists if we wanted to. And that typically helps Facebook just filter out to make sure it's spending money showing your ads to the right people. But we're going to go ahead and switch setups, and this will allow us to be a little bit more specific. And in this case, I do not want any business owner who's under the age of 28. They're probably starting out. I know it's in Austin, it's a growing city. However, I'm good on that. And then in this case, we're going to leave genders alone. Custom audience is fine. You could do somebody who's, target the people who have visited our website. That would be a custom audience. Target the people who are similar to the people who follow us on social media. That's another custom audience that you can set up. However, I'm going to keep it broad. What I do want is this detailed targeting. And what I can do is I can type in business admin, because I want business page admin specifically on Meta. Let's just see, where is that? Business page admins. And then I'll also do Facebook page. And you might be like, well, why are you doing that? And that's a great question. but it's because we know that if they're an admin of the Facebook page, that they're probably managing it, they're going to be on these platforms, and they're probably a business decision maker. And then in this case, we also want to target businesses. Let's see. Small businesses to enterprise businesses. And we'll also do medium business. And then the last one we will do is Gary V marketing. And we'll also do Alex Hermosi, because people who follow these people, we'll do Gary V because he's in marketing. And so people who follow these people understand what marketing is. And so this might be an example of an audience that you want to test. And you can see that we have about a 1.4 million audience size, which in a local market like this is perfect because we're going to be spending a decent amount of money. So we don't want to make it too small, but we don't want to make it too broad. So anywhere between 1 to 5 million is good, especially if you're not using any sort of list. Then here's where you come in and you set up the ad. So in this case, we're using 6 different video ads, like I said earlier. And so I'm going to add a video, and I already have them put in here. And so what I'll do is I'm just going to go one by one. And so I'll go ahead, paste this video, and I'll just give you an example of what our ads look like. And so they're very simple ads. They're meant to basically get a direct response. I'm going to go ahead and leave all the optimizations on. And then you can see the ad in the preview here. So now this is where we're going to add text. So in this case, we're going to do one ad where, let's see, which one do we like more? I like this one better. And so our copywriter just went ahead, shout out Jake and Mike, went ahead and just made me different versions so that I could quickly see which one I like more. And I'm going to go ahead and put that in the primary text. And one tip we've seen is just to make sure you leave gaps in between your sentences. It makes it easier to read. And so, boom. So you can see here we have this sign up today and invest in your brand's future for free. So what we want to do is we want to then make sure we use the same call to action here. And then I'll go ahead, copy this description, paste that there. And then the headline is this. And let's see how that looks. Let's put growing Austin businesses. And then we'll go ahead and put a camera emoji. I don't really know if it makes a difference putting emojis, but I'm going to go ahead and do it just so that it makes it easier to grab somebody's attention. I don't know why that didn't. Go ahead and grab that. And then just to make this easier in the future, what I'll do is I'll basically take this and I'll paste it over here. And here's where we would basically create a form. And this is where basically you can see here what your form is going to look like, and you want to make this as simple to fill out as possible. But if you're selling something that's more expensive, you typically want to add more questions just so that you don't get a bunch of shitty leads. And then also there's a step where you can make it a higher intent. When you create your form, you can just pick the kind of intent, and it basically makes people review their contact information just to make sure it's right, and that will make a difference. Because a lot of the times Facebook will pre-populate whatever information was used to make the account. And if they're actually interested and they want you to reach out to them, then the lead is probably going to say, hey, like that's my old email, let me replace it with a new one. So that's that. And you can add URL parameters, but for a lead gen form, it doesn't really make a lot of sense because you're not going to be sending that much traffic to your website unless they complete the form and then they go visit your website, which in that case, you've already got the conversion. So it's really not that useful. And so that's basically it. You can see how the ad looks. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and publish this. And so Facebook's going to tell me you could get this lower cost. However, I just know it's not true. It's going to show my ads to a bunch of people who are going to be leads, but they're not going to be the ones I want. So in that case, I'm good on those. And just to make sure before I click publish, I want to have selected the right form. Yes, free commercial Austin form. I'm going to click publish. And again, the easiest way to make a new form is literally just to just come down here, click create form, and here's again where you basically just go through the steps, talk about the questions you want. Again, less is more. It's going to have more opt-ins. However, depending on what you're selling, you might need more information. So if you're going to be spending money for this information, you might as well make sure you're getting what you need. So that's my only tips on that. One thing you can do is, again, change this. If you'd rather just have them call your business directly, you could do that. But this is how it looks, and again, this is where they could view our website. Okay. And then the only thing that I want to do besides that is one thing that you can do when you're making your form is you can click on the settings button, and you want to make sure that your forms are open. So this is what makes your lead gen form shareable. It's set by default to restricted. So if somebody wants to, share it with somebody who would be interested in your offer, or maybe it's, one business owner who wants to share it with another business owner, it's very important because typically those are going to be the highest converting traffic. And so we definitely want to mark this as open. And then we'll go ahead and click create form. And so then I'm going to click publish. And that is one ad down. And so what I recommend doing is clicking on this one campaign, and then we want to quickly duplicate, right? And then we can either do this a bunch of times, or you can click duplicate. And in our case, we need another 4 copies. And this just speeds up the process. So what I'll do now is I will do video 1, copy 1. So here I'll come here, and I'll do video copy, video 2, copy 1. And now everything is set up. All that I need to do is basically come in here and change out the creative to make sure that we are not using the same creative for every single ad. And so you can just click edit media, change video, or delete it. And if you want to use a picture, you can do it that way. And I'm going to go ahead, click this, click next, and we're going to be good to go here. I'm going to make sure we have all those optimizations in place. You can change the thumbnail if you'd like. So for example, I can click edit video and come here. I can change the thumbnail. I can go to manual, and I can pick one of these. And so in this case, I'll probably pick this, and I'll click save. And that way, rather than showing some random frame, it actually shows something that might get people's attention. So we'll go ahead, click publish. And ultimately, that's what we're going to do for all of these. And so I'll go ahead and speed up that process so that you don't have to see us going through all of that. And then I'll come back when we get to the next part. Okay, so I just finished setting up all of the ads, and you can see they're here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this new version, or new duplicate. And I'm now going to say video 1, copy 2, right? And so this is where I'll make the changes. So in this case, the video is correct because it's using the original video, but we do need to update the copy, right? So I will basically move my face over here, and I will take this copy now, and I will basically paste it in here. And as you can see, now if I duplicate this ad, I will now do the exact same process all over again. And I know that can be kind of annoying. However, this is the best way, especially when you're learning. When you manually do things, you kind of understand and you get to play around with things. So we highly recommend doing it this way. I will go ahead and speed up the process so we can get to the end. So again, I'm looking for the copy to, and then I will basically duplicate this. Four times, because one of the ads actually, I noticed something that I wanted to change. I wanted to change the first 3 seconds to make it a little bit more engaging. So we went ahead and scrapped it for now. So we'll be actually running 10 different ads for this campaign. So now that I have this, what I want to do is, in this case, I'm going to go video to copy to. And again, I want to emphasize to rename your ad sets. This is for the demonstration purpose, and it's also to explicitly show you kind of the thought process behind what we're testing. I didn't want to use the names and then that make it a little bit more confusing on what we're actually doing. So I'll click edit media, change video, and here I'll put now the second video with the second copy. I will click next, make sure all optimizations is on, and then go ahead and publish. And so now you can see I have all of these ads created, and if I go ahead and exit out and I go to my campaigns, I can go ahead and you can see that I have now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 ads being tested. So as you can see here now, here are the ads for the 11 that we are now running. You'll see that they are inactive or preparing. They might say in review. Typically there's about a 24-hour process before they start running, and once you start running ads for a longer period of time, typically the ads will be live within an hour or so. You can schedule them out in the future. Like, I want this to go out at 8 a.m. starting tomorrow. I don't really care. I'm not that nitpicky about it. But if you are on a smaller budget, it could make sense to not turn it on at 8:30 at night. So that's just a tip for the wise. But I will make a video after I let these ads run for about a week or two to show you how we split test them, how we pick winning ads, how we measure how they're doing, and whether or not we should keep running them, we should turn them off, and then also how to evaluate how we can make them better. We will make another video, a part 2 to this pretty soon, but I hope this made sense. This is how you generate leads on Facebook. You come up with a compelling offer, compelling messages, compelling copy, compelling creative. You combine all of them together to basically take all this traffic and force them down your offer. And the offer has to be extremely incentivizing. And we recommend test your offer first, find an offer that works, because you can have really bad creative, really bad copy, but if the offer is what people really are looking for, then you can get away with not being as good on the other things. If your offer sucks, you will have to be very, very good at copy, selling, creative to be able to compensate. And it's really not worth it. So first, find an offer that works. We know a free video offer works really well for us. Think about what you can offer that's a full solution to a narrow problem, or something that could get a foot in the door so that you can sell them something later. Again, this is to generate leads for high ticket businesses. This is kind of our funnel, our process. And so I hope this kind of led some insight. This is how now it's very easy to look at the results and see, okay, which one generated the most leads, which one had the highest click-through rate, et cetera, and we can then evaluate it much more logically than if we had just a bunch of ads that were all different. We really wouldn't know what's working, what's not working, or why, what the messaging was, etc. So you want to be super purposeful and effective when you are trying to figure out what is going to resonate with your target customer. And if you don't know, you can always talk to your existing customers or talk to people who are interested in what you sell and ask them what their biggest pain points are, what would incentivize them, and then try and be creative and reverse engineer how you can basically offer that for free or for a low price so that you can get people's foot in the doors and then you can make more money off them later. I hope that this video is valuable, and if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment box below. We'll make sure we answer it.